Hello everyone, I'm very excited for today's first episode of Lawsomeness Legal Awareness series with the hope that you all enjoy it. Kindly subscribe it and hit the bell icon. Encounter killing, retaliatory killing, or extrajudicial killing. These all are one and are alarmingly on increase nowadays. Yes, in this episode we are talking about law relating to encounters. Any act of killing that happens outside the judicial process is extrajudicial killing. After the encounter by Telangana police of 4 accused in connection with the rape and murder of 27-year-old lady doctor, the killing of gangster Vikas Dubey by the Uttar Pradesh police has put the spotlight back on the encounter killing. The rise in crimes has created an atmosphere of fear and anger, but loss of human lives would definitely give a wrong message to the society.
First of all, we should know about the legality of judicial killing. Article 21 of Indian
Right
Constitution.
to life and equality before law are the basic human rights recognized and granted by the Constitution of India.
And this was highlighted in 1997. The then National Human Rights Commission chairperson M.N. Venkatachalaya, in a letter addressed to Chief Minister of all states, had emphasized that a policeman, if found responsible of custodial death, would have the same defense available to common man and would not have any special protection. Important provisions relating to extrajudicial killings are given in Code of Criminal Procedure and Indian Penal Code. Section 100 IPC lays down the right to private defense of the body extends to voluntarily causing of death or of any other harm to the assailant if the offense which occasioned the exercise of the right may reasonably cause the apprehension that death or grievous hurt will otherwise be the consequence of such assault. Section 97 IPC enables use of force in self-defense only to protect one's body and that of others from the action of assaulting criminals, offenders whose actions reasonably cause the apprehension of death or grievous hurt. In such circumstances, the action taken by the police is fully protected by law. Section 46 CRPC clearly enables the police to use force resulting in the killing of an accused at the time of arrest, if the offense allegedly committed by the accused is punishable with death or life sentence. Section 102 IPC provides caution to the use of force for self-defense should continue only as long as such apprehension of the danger to the body continues. If none of these provisions can be invoked, the police officer would be guilty of the offense of culpable homicide, which is provided under Section 302 Indian Penal Code. When we talk about jurisprudential principle, in 2010, National Security Advisor Ajit Kumar Doval had defended fake encounters. Doval therefore agreed with the rule of law is means to an end and not an end in itself. He invoked jurisprudential principle of solus populi est suprema lex, which means the people's welfare is the supreme law, and the other principle, solus res publica est suprema lex, which means the safety of the nation is supreme law. What are the reasons behind increasing extrajudicial killing? After the few survey of NHRC, that is National Human Rights Commission, and many other commissions or organizations, it has come to the view that few underlying reasons are
behind increase in extrajudicial killing. First of all, public support. When there is a lag in the faith of Indian judiciary because of non-timely justice, it becomes the reason of extrajudicial killing. Second is political support. Many leader supports encounter as a medium of achieving maintenance of law and order. Third, rewards. Police are very often rewarded and awarded for encounters. Insufficient institution. NHRC, though fully empowered by judiciary to take up such cases suo motu, however, this has now become a very rare practice. Lastly, hero worshipping. The police become hero in the society as many people see them doing job of cleaning up the Indian society by killing the criminals. Silver screen, which plays the big role with the big budget made on them, projects their act as heroic. For curbing these arbitrary killings, Supreme Court and National Human Rights Commission has come forward with some sets of guidelines. First of all, let's talk about National Human Rights Commission's guideline. In March 1997, Justice M.N. Venkat Chalaiya, the then chairperson of National Human Rights Commission, asked states and union territories to ensure that police follows the following sets of guidelines in cases of encounter killing. First of all, register FIR. When in charge of police station receives information about the death in an encounter, he shall record the information in the appropriate register. Second is investigation. Information received shall be regarded as sufficient to suspect the commission of a cognizable offense. Immediate steps should be taken to investigate the facts and circumstances leading to the death, to ascertain what, if any, offense was committed and by whom. Thirdly, independent agency. As the police officer belonging to the same police station are the member of the encounter party, it is appropriate that the cases are made over for investigation to some other independent investigating agency such as state CID. Fourthly, compensation. Questioning of granting compensation to the dependents of the deceased may be considered in cases ending in conviction if the police officer prosecuted on the basis of results of investigation. In 2010, National Human Rights Commission expanded the guidelines, adding a new procedure for effective following of the recommendation to the states. They added magisterial probe. A magisterial inquiry must be held in all cases of death which occurs in the course of police action as expeditiously as possible, preferably within 3 months. Secondly, they added 2 types of reporting. Reporting to the Commission. All cases of death in police action in the states shall be reported to the Commission by the Senior Superintendent of the Police and Senior Superintendent of Police of District within 48 hours of such death in a given format. A second report must be sent in all cases to the Commission within 3 months, providing information including post-mortem report, inquest report, finding of the magisterial inquiry, inquiry of the senior officer. The leading case relating to encounter killing is People's Union for Civil Liberties and Others versus State of Maharashtra 2014, in which Supreme Court was dealing with the writ petition questioning the genuineness of 99 encounters killing by the Mumbai police, in which 135 alleged criminals were shot dead between 1995 and 1997. Standard procedure of 16 guidelines was laid down by Supreme Court for thorough, effective and independent investigation by Justice R.M. Lodha and Justice Rohinton Fali Nariman. Some of these guidelines are recording tip-off, intelligence regarding criminal activities. Second is registering FIR, which are to be done under section 157 CRPC, and the procedure which are expressed under section 158. Thirdly, independent probe, which are to be done by CID or police team of another police station. Fourthly, magisterial probe under section 176 CRPC. And fifth, information to National Human Rights Commission are to be given. Sixthly, prompt action. If found guilty, disciplinary action must be initiated and officer for the time being must be suspended. It is to be noted that guidelines must be strictly observed in all cases of death and grievous injury in police encounter by treating them as law declared under Article 141 of the Indian Constitution. Lastly, I want to express that encounter killing must be investigated independently as they affect the credibility of the rule of law, which need to be adhered by every state authority and masses of the society. It diminishes the nation's founding value. When state acts with impunity, it erases the fine line that separates the state from criminals. Thank you for watching this video, and please like and subscribe my channel to motivate me to post more videos. Thank you.